Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, the DRFBets race of the day for Friday, June the 22nd, race number 7 at beautiful Belmont Park. It is for state-bred turf sprinters. You can play it with your own DRFBets account. Sign up right now, get $100 in free cash. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Let's take a look at the field for race number 7 at Belmont on Friday. You can access free formulator pass performances on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order. And Matt, I believe that the number 1 Blue Atlas at 10-1 on David Aragona's morning line is a true sleeper for Javier and Todd.
Yeah, certainly. I think, you look at this pedigree at face value, you think distance is going to be her friend, and then you go through and kind of go through the 6 lifetime starts with a fine-tooth comb, and you realize that the races that she has sprinted have been far and away the best races of her career. So this little bit of a turn back is going to be beneficial. She's going to show a little bit of speed, so I don't think she'll be totally outrun. She's not going to be on the lead, but I think she's going to be relatively close. And I think the other thing, too, to keep note is I understand she's going to be running against non-winners at 2 other than, but she's going to be dropping back into the state-bred company. I think she's interesting at a decent number.
She really got a lung blower last time out. First time off the layoff, first time as a 3-year-old, and she went very, very fast, according to the Timeform U.S. pace figures, all color-coded red and dueling with another horse that ended up far back. She has cut back in distance successfully in the past, 2 for 2 with Castellano aboard, and all of her turf sprints are good. She's very interesting at a price, as is the number 2 Eloise. Now, Eloise hasn't popped in over 2 years, but this is a mare who 2 starts back, I don't really think that short comment tells the whole story.
No, like you say, I mean, she had a little bit of an issue in there, and I think there's also, you look at something else too. She faced a decent field that day, not a great field, but the winner came back to earn a 73 in the next start. I know the runner-up won on an off-the-turf race, but there's more part of me. I'm not so much concerned about that. I look at her overall body of work. She's been stuck at this level for a long, long time, and she hasn't been able to get over the hump. And I look at it and say 2 for 21, 7 times second or third. From a speed figure standpoint, she might be arguably the horse to beat in here. I just don't entirely trust her.
What I found interesting about Eloise's race 2 starts back on turf is she was bet from 7-2 to 9-5 in the last 90 seconds. She was up close to the pace, and Arad, for some reason, just didn't want to go on with it at the quarter pole. He kind of eased her back into the pocket, tried to slip up the rail. That wasn't there. Then she was shuffled back a little bit in mid-stretch, and she came with a little bit of run down towards the lane. There's something here with this mare, but you're right. She just happens to underperform at short prices once in a while, and at 9-2, I'm not sure what we'll get from Eloise, but she does have a good amount of tactical speed. The horse that beats your morning line favorite, and that's the number 3 March Express. Todd Pletcher, Jose Ortiz, 8-5 on the morning line. 2 starts back in the misdirection. This horse really had a 4-wide trip throughout. There wasn't a ton of pace on, and she came with her usual late run. Now, she's aggravating to watch if you're a lead change fan like we are, because you don't know what you're going to get, but if March Express even gets a little bit of pace, you know she'll come rolling late.
Yeah, I mean, she showed as a 2-year-old that she had some ability, and you're right. She's not the most professional horse you've ever seen. She's very goofy, and she swaps leads about 15 times, but you're not going to hold that off the turf race against her most recently. That run 2 starts back, the misdirection. I'm up in the air overall about the quality of that field. Africa came back and earned a 68 buyer. The 4th place finisher was a next out winner, though, with an 82 buyer. I kind of look at it and say, if she runs that race, she's probably the horse to beat in here. I just wonder, again, you brought up the price. Ultimately, how heavy is she going to be bet? Is she going to take a ton of money in here? Because if that's the case, I guess I'm a little bit leery knowing that she's probably going to come from a little bit farther off the pace.
Returning from a 197-day layoff for Gary Barber and Mark Casse is the number 4. It's in the Stars, who performed poorly in her most recent start way back in December. She had a pace set up at Aqueduct. She just didn't fire at all. Maybe she likes Belmont. 3 starts back, she came back off of a hot pace to win as the favorite, and now winners of 1 other than. But I think you can make the argument that A, she's not the best closer in the race, and B, she's got to deal with that layoff.
Yeah, I agree with that. The layoff, you never know what you're going to get. And I also kind of look at it and say, I understand that most recent run was a little bit disappointing, but if you believe the buyers, that at least gives her a puncher's chance underneath. I don't know if she's the most likely win candidate, but if you're playing some sort of an exotic, maybe you want to consider using her underneath.
The 5, same kind of crazy for Rudy Rodriguez. 2 starts back, was in that same turf race as Eloise, and I thought she had a little bit of trouble as well. In behind a wall of horses turning into the stretch, eased to the outside, came with a good late run. That being said, it just seemed that the pace collapsed that day over that good turf course.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there's also a part of me that looks at her and says she's a little bit interesting because Rudy's only had her on turf 2 times since he claimed her. And really, the run 2 starts back, maybe considering it was the first start off of a little bit of a layoff, first start back on the grass in a few months, maybe we're going to get the best version of her this time around. Having said that, I still don't entirely trust her because, again, like many of these other girls in here, they're not the most prolific as far as winners are concerned.
Let's see what the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector has in store for favored March Express. They've got her near the back of the pack, as is expected. The 6 Sandy Bell, as is expected, is on the lead according to the pace projector, as she's been in many of her starts. While she's a turf maiden, she should get to the front. I'm not sure about 7, and it seems every time she runs on the turf, those Timeform pace numbers are red. So I wouldn't be surprised if this pace is a little faster than usual, because I'm not sure you can slow Sandy Bell down.
You know, when I first looked at the pace projector before we started, I said, boy, she's going to be so tough to run down. And then go and look at all turf starts. She just can't finish these races for one reason or another, whether it is because they're going very fast early on or it's the distance. I think she has a major tactical advantage in here, but I don't trust the ability that she's going to be able to see out 7/8.
Formulator fact for the 7, Khun Dre, who is last on the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector. Jonathan Thomas does good work with new acquisitions to his stable. Past 2 years, older turf horses first after the trainer switch, 33% winners and a positive ROI. But this formulator fact also misses the big story about Khun Dre, a horse that last raced on September 21st, 2016, the next month with a vet scratch. So this horse has not raced in 639 days. When we last saw her, she was keeping good company.
Yeah, certainly. Feeling Bossy was the next out winner coming out of that most recent start. And you see, just based on the money that this horse has taken throughout all of her 7 lifetime starts, I mean, clearly she's been a good thing at the windows. From a buyer standpoint and from a Timeform standpoint, if she runs those races, if she's capable of coming back and running something close, she's certainly in here with a chance. But boy, you know, we talked about it with the Cassie horse. You've got to worry about the layoff. I have no idea what you're going to get. I respect Jonathan Thomas, but this is it. This would be a tremendous training job if she was ready to go off this kind of a layoff.
Another layoff runner is the 8, Belle of the Spa. We haven't seen her in 260 days, and I wonder if trainer Bruce Brown is using this race as a prep for something longer. Belle of the Spa's most recent race, way back in October, it was a live heat. Amazing Ann came back to run second at this level with an 80 buyer. Lady Joan, the 3rd place finisher, has come back to win 2 out of her next 3 starts, but the layoff is somewhat concerning. At least she has a little bit of tactical speed.
Yeah, you know, you brought up the biggest piece to me. I go through and look. I wonder if this is nothing more than a means to an end. Get a race into her, some fitness, and then stretch her out, whether it's at Belmont or up at Saratoga.
Tis Now Smile showed some ability on dirt as a 2-year-old for Charlie Baker and really didn't progress through her 3-year-old campaign. This will be her 3rd start at 4 and her 1st start on the turf. She's by Tis Now, 7% winners from first-time turf runners. I just wish there was more turf pedigree.
Yeah, agree with that. She's from a nice family on the bottom side, but it's just one of those things. There's not a lot of turf in there. She's half to Atlantic Smile, who did win a couple times on grass, but I just kind of look at her overall body of work and I say, I agree. She hasn't taken that step forward. It's also worth noting the only big race of her career came on a wet track. Otherwise, she really hasn't done a lot.
The number 10, Suede, won her most recent start, but that was 210 days ago for George Weaver, and she now returns for trainer Ralph Nix. While I like her tactical speed and that she was certainly going the right way towards the end of her 4-year-old campaign, again, this layoff is a little bit worrisome to me. And for me, the step up from the state-bred 1X to the 2X, that is a gigantic hike in class.
Agreed, 100%. We're going to be interesting to see what you get off this layoff first time going out for Nix. I suppose a positive, though, for her is she has a little bit of tactical speed, so I don't think she'll be entirely outrun. I am a little bit dubious, though, coming off this layoff.
Formulator fact for the 11, Held Accountable, returning off a 202-day layoff for Phil Serpy. Past 5 years, older horses dirt to turf, only 2 for 49, but this filly won fresh sprinting on the turf in her career debut last year, and I think she can be up close to the pace and maybe can inherit this thing turning into the stretch if Serpy has her ready.
It's kind of the way that I was looking at it, but really that second piece that you just touched on, that was the big concern for me. If she's ready to go, another thing for Phil Serpy, past 5 years, 180-day layoff or greater, 0 for 19. So it's not as though he has him ready to go out of the box, but I suppose maybe that debut score up at Saratoga, maybe that allays some of the fears. I also like what you had also touched on. She has a little bit of speed. I think she's going to be relatively close to the pace. If she's ready to go, I think she's got a chance.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Friday's race of the day, race number 7. You're going to go with Held Accountable. She's 12 to 1 on the morning line, and again, I think a good trip is coming under Luis Saez.
I think the other thing that was so encouraging to me anyway, in that career debut, she went up, she sat just off the pace early on, and when it looked like she was going to be in for a battle at the top of the lane, took her a minute to change leads, but once she finally did, she really extended. I thought it was a good effort, and I think maybe that's what she's wanted all along. I understand they come back and they win that state-bred stakes race on dirt in her second lifetime start, but I almost wonder if this is really what she's wanted all along. And again, we'll find out. If she's ready to go, I think she's got a very good opportunity to kind of upset a decent number. The question is, do you think that she'll be tight for the first start?
Not a great price on my top pick, the 3 March Express, but I think it's kind of a now or never situation. You're catching several horses off layoffs, and some of the others just lack a winning profile. If she gets a little bit of pace, we'll see if this stakes dropper can just simply be better than them in the lane and overwhelm them. From a multiple race standpoint, I want to use the 3 March Express. I want to use a little bit of the 2 Eloise. I want to use a little bit of the 5. Same kind of crazy. But from a single race standpoint, I want to go 3, 7, 10, and 5. I think the 7 and 10 are best played underneath in single race exotics in race number 7 at Belmont, a race which you could play with a new DRFBets account. Sign up, play it with $100 in free cash. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for race number 7, Friday's DRFBets Race O' the Day, 6:18 Eastern. Best of luck.